Hello, Sudoku friends, and welcome to an Evil level Sudoku by Sudoku.com. I transferred the grid, as I often do, over to SudokuExchange.com to benefit from their slightly better user interface. Let's see what this grid has in store for us. Well, there's a 5, 9 here, and there's a 5 and a 9 here. So these 5 and 9s force a 5 and a 9 to go in these two cells here. So far, so good. We found something. Not a lot, I admit, but let's see what else we can do with this new finding. The 7 here blocks these cells, and the 7 here blocks this cell. So one of these two cells will have to be a 7. And in combination with this 7 here, we now know that one of these two cells will have to be a 7. We don't know which one yet, but we know now that a 7 for column 3 will have to go here, 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 or here. I know that's a lot of possibilities, but at least now I know. There's an easy 3 to be found for this cell here because of the 3 here and the 3 here. They block these cells, and this 3 blocks this cell, so this is a 3. And this 3 blocks this cell, doesn't it? This 3 here blocks these cells, so a 3 for column 1 will have to go either here or here. And in combination with this 3 now, and the 3 down here, all of these cells are now blocked by 3s, leaving just this cell for a 3. Having found the 3 here, we can now see the 5 here and the 5 here block these 4 cells. Therefore, this cell must be a 5. And now it's very obvious, I think, that the 1 and the 7 here force a 1 and a 7 to go in these two cells here. And because this 7 blocks this cell, we have to find a 7 for column 3 in one of these 3 cells now. So if these are 1 and 7, what then are these? These two cells here, don't they have to be a 2 and a 9? I think they do. And there's a 9 in this column, therefore this must be a 2, and the 9 will have to go here. Now, the 2 here and here block these cells. The 2 here blocks this cell as well. So this is going to be the 2. And now this 8 blocks these cells, so therefore an 8 for this column 3 must go either here or here. And in combination with this 8 here, we now know that one of these two cells must be an 8. And the other digit will have to be a 3 because of the 3 here and the 3 here. They block these cells from being a 3. And so does this, by the way, over here. So one of these cells will have to be a 3 and the other one will have to be an 8. And that makes this a 1, 7 as well as this one here. And this is also a 1, 7. And to avoid the unique rectangle issue, this cell here now cannot be a 1 or a 7. So what can it be? Not a 1, not a 2, not a 3. It could be a 4, but not a 5. It could be a 6. It must be a 6 because of the 6 going up here and the 6 coming down here. So this is a 6. Silly me. So these 3 cells now have to be a 1, 7, and a 4. The 4 down here puts a 4 either here or here. And we agreed that this was a 1, 7, right? And that will make this one an 8 because we have an 8 here and we have an 8 here. So this is an 8. This is now a 1, 7, and a 4 for these 3 cells. This is a 1, 7, this is a 1, 7, 1, 7, 4, and 1, 7. So the 4 here blocks this cell, the 4 here blocks this cell, making this a 4. Now this is a 1, 7, and this is a 1, 7. And yes, we can resolve those because we have a 1, 7 also up here. Because 1 and 7 are the only two digits missing from the column. And since there's a 7 in the row here, this must be a 1. This therefore must be a 7, making this a 1, and this a 1, and this a 7. That was nice. So these are 3 and 8, and this therefore is going to be a 7 and a 4. And I can't resolve them just now, but I'm sure that we'll get around to it very soon. These 3 empty cells in the top row have to be a 2, 4, and an 8. And I can't say where they are going to go, not just yet anyway. But scanning down here with the 7 and the 7 here and the 7 here, I can see that all of these cells here are blocked by 7s, and therefore this must be a 7. And now this 7 and this 7 blocking these cells, and this 7 blocking these two cells, one of these two now must be a 7. And one of these two must be a 7 because we have the 7 here and the 7 here blocking these cells. So I can't do anything about those 7s at this time. I think I should familiarize myself with these 5 cells now, because as we know, these two have to be a 5 and a 9, meaning that we still need to find a 1, 2, 4, 7, and 8. 1, 2, 4, 7, and 8. Let's see if we can glean anything from that information. There's a 1 and a 7 and a 4 all bearing down on this cell. So this has got to be a 2 or an 8, but I can't be sure which it's going to be. So I'm not touching that, not just yet. Let's look at this row here. We still need to find a 1, 2, 6, and a 9. Nothing yet to be done with that, except one of these will have to be a 2, of course. I'm looking at this block up here. We have only 4 givens. We have a 3 and a 6, and we have a 5, 9 invisible pair here. I'm looking at the 7s because this 7 blocks these cells. This 7 here blocks this cell. And because this 7 also blocks these cells, and this 7 blocks this cell, one of these two cells here must be a 7. So now, given a ghost 7 here and a 7 up here blocking these cells, and these now being blocked by the ghost 7, and this being blocked by this 7 here, we can enter a 7 here. And that, in combination with this 7 and the 7 here, forces a 7 to go here. And that makes this a 4. And I think that might open up the puzzle completely for us, because now the 4 here blocking these cells and the 4 here blocking these cells, and these two cells being 5 and 9 make this a 4. This is now a 2, 8, and this is now a 2, 8. So these two cells have to be a 2 and an 8. So altogether, we need to find a 1, 2, and an 8 for these 3 cells. And these 2 are the only ones that can contain a 1, making a 1 a candidate for these 2 cells. And now that we have the 4 here and the 4 here blocking these cells, and we have the 4 here blocking this cell, this is now a 4. This is a very easy way and very intuitive, I think, to find a missing digit. Before I found this 4 here, this column only had 2 givens, namely the 3 here and the 7 here. So looking at a puzzle this way, like looking at all 3 columns as a whole, is much easier to find a missing digit. And now I want to take another look at this column 6. We still need to find a 1, 3, 4, 6, and a 7. There's a 1, 4, 6 and a 7 here, and that automatically makes this a 3. This 3 and this 3, they block these cells. This 3 blocks this cell, making this a 3 here. We need to find a 5, 7, and a 9 for these 3 empty cells. There's a 5 and a 9 in this column, making this a 7. This is now a 5 and a 9 pair. And the 7 here and here, of course, block these cells. The 7 here blocks this cell as well, and therefore this cell must be a 7. And I believe we now have all the 7s in the grid. I believe I can now find a solution for the 2 and an 8 here, because I'm looking at this 8 here, and that 8 blocks these 3 cells. The 8 here blocks these 2 cells. Therefore, one of these 2 cells must be an 8. And if that is true, and I believe it is, then this cell up here cannot be an 8 as well. Therefore, it must be a 2, and the 8 will have to go over here. And now I think we've got the 2's sorted. Let's see. We got this 2 blocking these cells. We got these 2's blocking this cell and this cell. Therefore, this must be a 2. And now in combination with the 2 up here, these 2 cells are blocked. And these 2 cells block these 2 cells here. Therefore, this cell is the only one that can be a 2 in this box and in this column and in this row. This is a 5 or a 9, as we recall, making these a 1 and a 6. Remembering that an 8 will have to go in one of these 2 cells, and therefore it can't go in this one here. That pushes an 8 up here, making this a 3. Now this 3 and this 3 here, and these 2 3's block these cells from being a 3, and therefore this must be a 3. And we've got all the 3's in the grid. These two being a 5 and a 9, making this a 1 and a 4. There's a 1 in the column, making this a 4 and this a 1. Now one of these 2 cells will have to be a 1, and these 2 cells have to be a 6 and a 2. There's a 2 in the column, making this a 6 and this a 2. This is now a 4 or a 6, as well as this is a 4 or a 6. And this is also, these 4 cells can all be a 4. What else have we got? I feel that we are very close to finishing off this puzzle here. Want to look again at this column. We need to find a 1, 5, 8, and a 9. This is a 5 or a 9, we know that. This could be an 8, 9, 1. This could be an 8 or a 5. Well, actually, this cannot be an 8. What am I saying? Because we just talked about how this 8 and this 8 block these cells, didn't we? Therefore, one of these will have to be an 8, and therefore this one cannot be an 8, and therefore this one must be an 8, and that makes this a 1. Now we are getting somewhere. So this cell cannot be a 6, can it? Because we have a 6 in this row. So a 6 will have to go here or here to get a 6 in this column 4. And in combination with this 6 here, that makes this a 6. And now one of these two will have to be a 6, and the other one will have to be a 1, because we have a 1, 6 here and a 1, 6 here. So these being 1, 6, that makes these 3 here an 8, 9, and a 5. And the 9 can't go here, therefore it must go here. And that makes this a 9, and this a 5, and this a 9, and this a 5. And also this now must be a 5. Now one of these will have to be a 5, and the other one will have to be an 8. We have an 8 up here, so this is a 5, and this is an 8. You see a 5 here, and here forces a 5 into the center cell like so. These were 1 and 6, therefore this must be an 8. And these 2 cells now have to be a 9 and a 4. There's a 4 in this row, so this is a 9 and this is a 4, making this cell here a 1. This one and this one now puts a 1 here and a 6 here and a 6 here and a 1 here. The last 3 cells of the puzzle must be a 4 that goes here and a 6 that goes here and a 9 that goes here. I don't think that was too bad a puzzle. Was it an evil puzzle? Maybe if you're a beginner solver or even an intermediate solver, I think you might find this evil. But as you have seen, it's quite possible to solve without using any pencil marks at all, if you put your mind to it. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you'll come back for more soon. Thank you for watching and bye for now.